Hey there everybody, welcome back to another episode of Life in Germany here on our channel True North. Today we're going to be talking about what do the Germans eat for breakfast, or how do they eat breakfast. Every country is a little bit different, and so today we're going to dive into how the Germans tend to eat things. Coming up, stick around.
Upper Michigan, God's country as it were. Vast forests, beautiful scenery, breathtaking sights. A small town in the middle of nowhere, that's where I come from. Whereas Americans, we proudly wave the flag and stand for the flag. But in 2011, I married my wife, got on a plane, and moved to Germany. And so after being here for 10 years, I decided it's time to tell my story and share my experiences as an American in Germany. So follow me, a normal dude with a GoPro, a drone, and sometimes a fancier camera, and I'll show you what it's like here. Come with me and experience life in Germany.
Alright, so to answer the question, what do Germans eat? We got to go into what's your base. And keep in mind, this is coming from the perspective of being in Bavaria. Your staples for in the morning, your staple foods in the morning in Bavaria are going to be, lots of people go to the bakery to get fresh bread, fresh pretzels, or brezen as they call them. And so that's what I got here. Fresh Pfefferbreze, one of my absolute favorites. This is like a normal pretzel or a breze with, it's kind of like, it's got like a little, some kind of a fat or oil on it or something like that, so that the crushed pepper and the salt stays on there. And you eat this with, you butter it up and you eat it, and it's really good. At first, I didn't really subscribe to the whole pretzel thing, but after you see it enough and you get offered it enough, it just kind of starts to grow on you, and then pretty soon you start to develop a habit that you have to have them every day. So, but they're really good. So we got Pfefferbreze, we have our normal pretzel, salt pretzel, same thing except just without that oily coating and pepper. And then we got our Semmel, or in the rest of Germany it's usually called a Brötchen, so like a little bread. And so we start off with that. We'll put everything over here. Usually in the morning when Germans don't have time to eat a elaborate breakfast or anything like that, like during the week when they're going to work or whatnot, they go to the bakery, grab a Brötchen or pretzel. You take your Semmel, cut it half just like another normal one, like you normally would for any other roll. So in Germany, most of your bread and everything in the morning, I've noticed, you put butter on it, or there's some other kind of stuff I've only seen it a couple times with my in-laws. They put like Schmand, it's called, where it's essentially like goose fat and stuff. I stay away from that. I didn't try that, so I stick with butter. So lots of people what I tend to see people do is they take their bread and they put butter on it, and then they put like a honey on top of that, and they just eat that like that. But otherwise, what I've typically seen is lots of people take what's kind of like a cream cheese. They put that on their bread there. And you just kind of make like a breakfast sandwich. I would describe it as a breakfast sandwich. They call it different things. But typically you'll have like some kind of lunch meat, what we call it lunch meat, and in German they call it Wurst, or Aufschnitt, I think it's called. And here I have Leberkäse. And Leberkäse is kind of hard to describe. I'll probably have to do its own episode for it. But it's essentially kind of like bologna. Bologna and ham is the best. Bologna is the best way to describe it, I think. And then I always put just some cheese on there, some Gouda, or in Europe there's lots of different kinds of cheese is that you wouldn't even come across in the States that I know of. There's Swiss cheese. In the States, people say Swiss cheese. Well, there's like 30,000 different types of Swiss cheese. So that's something that you'll also have to just experience in Germany. They have all kinds of different flavors. They have different herbs and whatnot that are impregnated in the cheese. It's a whole thing. Then I just usually should put some cucumbers on there, some tomatoes on there. You get yourself some crushed pepper. And I probably already put too much on this breakfast sandwich as it is. They wouldn't call it a breakfast sandwich, I don't think, but usually they have like 1 to 2 ingredients on there. So like some kind of Schmand or some kind of cream cheese and meat and cheese, and that's it. That's how Germans typically eat their breakfast. It's not necessarily, sometimes they'll have what they call, it's like similar to cereal, but it's muesli is what it's called, and it has more like oats and like whole grain type of grains in it. What they'll do is they'll put yogurt in there, or they have what's called, in the States we don't necessarily have it, it's called Quark. It's like, it's hard, it's kind of like cream cheese, but it's not, it doesn't have as much of a flavor. It's a neutral flavored stuff, mass. You can use it for baking, you can use it for sweet things, you can use it for hearty things like potatoes and garlic and whatnot. You can put those in there. It's kind of a filling thing, but you can get some that's really low fat and it's high in protein, and lots of people use that for before they work out and stuff like that. So that's one typical way that Germans tend to eat breakfast. And I have in this next clip a little bit more of a setup breakfast table, what that looks like on like a Saturday morning when you have more time, and we'll go through that a little bit.
So this is kind of what it's going to look like on a Saturday or Sunday morning when you have more time to enjoy breakfast together, especially as a family. And what's really important in Germany at breakfast time is the bread. Saturday and Sunday morning, usually everybody goes to the bakery and they get fresh bread, and they get a different variety of different rolls and whatnot. Here we have like white bread and whole grain bread, pumpkin corn or pumpkin seed bread, things like that. Really good bread. I don't know honestly if I've seen this before in the United States, but this is typical in Germany. Soft-boiled eggs. You eat them out of a little cup with a spoon. You just kind of spoon it out like cereal or whatever. The little sausages here are kind of an American touch. Usually, I don't think they generally have those, but we as a family kind of adopted that. Then, like I mentioned before, you'll have your Aufschnitt, which is like your lunch meat, and your different cheeses kind of laid out. Then, like I said before, typical is butter. But if you don't want butter, there's all kinds of different spreads that you can put on there as well, like bruschetta. They have lots of marmalade or marmalade, jam, things like that.
So that was a little bit of how breakfast is here in Germany, and I hope you guys were able to take something from it, that this video was entertaining for you. If you did like the video, I ask that you please consider liking and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already done so. That helps the channel grow. It also lets me know if this material is watchworthy and if you guys like watching it. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, or if you have like any comments on how you eat breakfast different in Germany, or if you have any kind of other things you want to add to it, feel free to put those in the comments. So with that, I'll catch you guys later. You guys have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll catch you next time.